why we're doing it. What is the purpose of behind it?
Welcome to the International Institute for Facilitation's podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm Eileen Dowse, Chair Emeritus and Director of Assessments for INIFAC. And today, you are in for a thrill, and an educational thrill. I'm joined by Fredrik Apelberg from Sweden. He's a certified Master Learning Facilitator. He's a certified Professional Facilitator, and he's also the Chief Operating Officer and a Facilitator at Lorensbergs. And for the next couple of minutes, we will untangle this topic that is, I think, very important to facilitators, how to get a team to interact. So welcome, Fredrik.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to actually start this conversation with you, Eileen.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure we could do about 6 podcasts on this, but we'll keep it to that high level.
yeah, it's a huge topic, and yeah, exactly.
It really is, and it's a common problem too, right?
Mm.
People
Yeah.
are busy, people are whatever. So before we talk about, yay, let's get them interacting, I always like to understand the why. What in your mind makes teams not interact? What's happening there that makes them not interact?
I would say, like, from the start, like going maybe back to this is my perspective, going back to like why don't people not interact but not do things, like what not motivated, not move themselves, not doing something. I think it's like starting with yourself. Like, if you don't really understand the connection of why should I do it, then why should I bother put my energy in it like that? So
you're
a
talking
lack
about
of understanding
You're talking
from
about
yourself.
the facilitator, got it.
Yeah, from understanding the why from the person, I would say.
Wow, okay.
But then also on the question of like why don't maybe people interact or connect with each other? I think also it's quite rapid world that we are living in,
Yeah.
and the fact that actually maybe a group that are going to interact, maybe team development or a team that are there to create something, do something, and they're maybe there for just a certain of time together, and maybe they are like, why should I bother to put inputs in this group of people, in this project, in this part, and why again should I do it? So I think that answer is that sometimes it's unclear with why we're doing things.
Yeah.
And that is the power of a facilitator can help out with, of putting words, not giving the answer, but helping to find the answer.
Okay, so let's say I have, as a facilitator, a great attitude and I'm coming in, maybe I'm coming in high energy, and I'm just looking at this group and they're not motivated. They're not wanting to interact. I'm a big believer in perspectives. So my perspective is, I found this with groups, maybe you have too, you facilitate and you think, that was the worst facilitation of my life. And afterwards you get these glowing reports, oh my gracious, that was so great. I'm like, what? So what about perspective as part of the topic here? Facilitator's perspective that the group isn't interacting or should interact more.
Yeah, well, like, so if you then like if you will phrase that in a question, then what will that be then for me like to dive into?
Great question, thank you. If I'm a facilitator and my perspective is the group isn't interacting, how can I make sure that my perspective is correct? Because that may just be how they interact.
Yeah. And I would say, like, mirroring it back, this is what I'm seeing, asking the question back. Maybe in a way I'm mirroring back to you with my question of
Yeah,
like,
you did.
this is what I see, this is what I hear. This is what helped me out here to see things and not jump in too quick in your conclusion of like, this is what you're seeing and that is equal with that one.
Yeah.
There maybe could be a great reason why that behavior is there, and not go with your assumption about something.
Yeah.
Assumption is the root cause to all misunderstanding, I would say. So mirroring back, like check, reflect back, be curious about the answers. And I would say like be humble and as a facilitator open to this I don't really understand. What is that about? And help me out to understand. Can you rephrase that? Can you say that again? I'm not understanding. In a neutral way, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I really like about your answer? Is that when I work with facilitators or people wanting to be facilitators, I think the hardest thing for them is to realize that it's the group that owns the outcome. And you were there, like you said, humbly and serving, so why not ask them? It's their meeting, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And to add on that one, like maybe okay, that's maybe something that happens during the session or during the interaction or during the workshop that you're doing. But from my perspective, also as I'm trying to do, working with groups is also like finding out as much answer as possible before we're doing it. Like, what can I do in my pre-work? Can I in the best world actually meet with the team I'm going to work with and actually asking the question, like short interview, doesn't need to be a whole deck with questionnaire and a lot of questions. Could be actually like my first question I go with sometimes just to understand and get their perspective is like, this is a session we will do in 2 weeks, and why do you think this is important? Or what is your perspective when you're coming to this one? And it is impressive and also so much great answer you just get with that question of like, so why do you think this is important? And then you get maybe the whole things that is not working or the things they need to change, or maybe all the suggestion they see the team actually need to do differently.
Yeah.
And then maybe the whole team puts that on the table, and then they own the answer and they have much more easier to drive it forward as they own it.
yeah, those questions are so important. I facilitated once, and people after lunch came in really low energy, and I thought, all right, well, maybe it's after lunch. And it just nothing was clicking, like you said. Even in the facilitation, mirrored or I asked, I said, something is going on, right? What's happening? They just all got an email that half the company was shutting down.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, we're going to pivot now.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah, but if you didn't do that mirroring or mirroring back to the group and asking the question of what is happening there, you will never know. And just standing there with your own driving plan and trying to get a square into a circle, it doesn't work. So doing that one is that I would say, yeah, be curious is my answer to your question.
Beautiful.
A long answer to short question, maybe.
Well, it's spaghetti on the wall, right? We're throwing things at the wall. So let's throw something new at the wall. Can you give me all those wonderful techniques that a facilitator can use to get this group to interact? Now, we know about play music or, I don't know, do an activity. I know you have done so much facilitation. What other techniques could you share to get that group interacting?
But as this is more like for me in the room, in the part, it's like sometimes if we start with the start of it, if sometimes we could feel odd of just starting with not even saying my name. I go straight to it, like why we are here, and giving actually questions about that or answering the questions about that. If it is a part of it, this is the purpose, this is the outcome, this is what we're here to do actually, and going straight into that one, and in a way then later then can be interested of my role and who am I and what I'm here to do, but starting there actually, because that is the number one thing here actually. There we have a purpose, we have an outcome, and we need to go away with that one, and they are going to own that outcome as well.
I'm hearing get buy-in. And however you
get
do
buy-in.
that.
I'm more of saying like, so we're having taking away that question once again, the why. You know, if you're sitting in a meeting, maybe have that feeling before, you are starting to wondering to yourself like, why am I here? And if you don't get an answer on that question the first 5-10 minutes in an interaction or into a meeting, you will start to plan other things in your head, maybe what you're going to have for dinner, or what next meeting, or why is that person wearing that shirt, or whatever it is. But you need to get that attention. And after that, I would say, then we talk about how we're going to do it, and actually talk about the ground rules, or setting up a contract, actually. How can we interact in the best way? Once again, it's them there to do it. So, so starting up why, how, sometimes also who are we? And then we are good to go.
I'm so glad you said that, because I always say a human need is about why am I here? Who's in the room, and who am I going to be in this room? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
What's going to be my role in this meeting?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have that person that says, I don't trust the facilitator, I don't know what's going on, so I'm choosing to disrupt the meeting because this meeting needs to be disrupted, and I'm saving the group. That's not helpful.
Yeah.
So right on when you're saying get all that out in the beginning.
Yes, start with it. And then if we continue, then what could be a second part that is important, the technique of thinking, of getting interaction, or they are active, engage into it. It's not like if I plan the session of being that they have a lot of discussion, a lot of things, and a lot of activity from their side, from the group, to interact with each other, share their perspective of different things, then I'm quite keen on, or quite important for me, that as quick as possible, they actually starting to do something. Even if it is a short check-in, or if there is a short work they will do, but it's about them doing it. So not if I have a whole day, it's not sending out information the first 20-40 minutes. Then it's about after 5 minutes they need to do something, because that sets the stage a little bit of this is how we're going to play this day or this session, this part. You are in the driving seat, and it's not me standing here as a keynote speech and talking about things.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
What about that afternoon lull? That I always watch what people eat at lunch, because if they hit the dessert buffet or whatever they're having, I'm like, I'm going to have to work so hard this afternoon just to raise up that energy. So when it's just a biological slump, what can you do?
Yeah, like that one, it's like physical movement, I would say, music, but also like you can start with like, maybe if after lunch, if I will go with maybe some summary what we have done, drawing. It helps actually to be playful. Maybe if you're going to draw what we have talked about, what happens from the first before lunch, and continue with that one. What are the learnings? Can you find a metaphor from that one? And be on your feet, I would say, and stand up. So movement, I will say, in that one. And into that one, I also like also important to get to see everyone, and everyone feels included in. Now we're taking this further on as well.
So important. Okay, so Fredrik, you're COO. What if you're working with a bunch of CTOs, COOs, CEOs, whatever, and they say drawing or standing up, this is just silly, don't waste my time. So there's, for them, interaction may be perceived differently, or they're interacting in their own little bubble. What about that kind of interaction when people don't want, it's perceived to them as silly or fluffy or touchy-feely, or all those words? Well, then what can you do to interact that mindset of a participant?
Yeah. If we go back to be curious, first of all, like that, and for myself to reflect myself, then I wasn't not clear enough of why we're doing it. What is the purpose of behind it? What is the purpose of we're doing it? I would say I have been for like in these rules and facilitators in 2010, and that is maybe an assumption that we put that those kind of people, they don't want to do that, or that person who doesn't want to do that, and that one.
Right.
Everyone, if they understand the need. But if I come with now what we're going to do and not explaining why we're doing it or how we're going to do it, then I maybe will get that resistance. But that is on myself, I would say then, and to be clear about the why. Because there is a why we're doing it.
Right.
Maybe giving the why of actually now we are now after lunch and this is the reason of why we're doing this exercise. It helps us to remind us what we talked about, but also we get the movement. We are thinking outside the box, cognitive thinking and so on.
Yeah.
So I will go back to myself there. Then I need to be better on the why.
Yeah.
And
You know,
and
you
be
call
clear.
it why, and I completely agree. And I think that can also be equated to the purpose. So sometimes
Yeah.
what I say is the purpose of this activity
Yeah.
is. So it's a language, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
resonates.
For me, exactly. Purpose is maybe a better word. For me, I'm using the why as the
Oh yeah, no, why is
fill in the exactly. Yeah.
yeah. And there's a whole cultural thing too. Do they understand what purpose means? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got you on this podcast. You're a very wise and smart man. Could you just give us all your wonderful go-to tools that you might use? So you talked about drawing. What else might help a group interact? This is like free advice. It's so good.
Yeah, but it depends. It is a super hard question, to be honest. Like it depends on what we would like to get, so to say. But
Right.
if I put that in a position and put the scenario around it, maybe, well, okay, this is a team. This is a team development. This is a team that would like to interact with each other to become a high performing team, or and so on. And then with that lens or that perspective, okay, what are the types of activity or process that can be used actually to so the team, the group interact with each other with the purpose of working on how do they interact with each other in the long run, I would say.
Yeah, right.
If we put it with that perspective, then I would say like my go-to exercise is actually force field analysis. Like, what is the future perfect ideal scenario? What's the current scenario, and what is the worst scenario? And just with those three questions, you have a lot of different techniques, different discussions, different things that you can work with to find out the future perfect. Facilitate a dialogue how it is right now for them, and if everything falls apart, how will that look like then? And then working with like solution focused mindset of like, okay, what can we do to maximize the things that drives us to the ideal scenario, and what are the things that are hindering us? Sometimes this like force field analysis, I can see it sometimes being used as like a 30 minutes exercise, and I was like, that is something that you actually can build up a whole day or a whole week on just those questions. Because depending on what else you're adding there actually, or so that is my number one, I would say. The second one I would say is the like not role play, more like real play. Like this is a scenario that is happening. This is what is playing out. Maybe they are more working with sales or marketing, or I have before like worked with the sponsor, understanding really this is the situation they are into. Taking a scenario that is quite close related to what they are doing, and then play it out for them. And then like, this is the case, this is happening. Maybe there is something on social media that's popping up, or this happens in the political world around you, and you have 30 minutes to come up with a crisis plan, and let them actually work on it, and then observe, and then having the discussion after it, because they are then driving it, doing it, they are actively, and they are interacting. I'm silent during that time, and listen and observe. And then we're having the discussion after what happened. It's not the result of the crisis plan they come up with. It's what happened in their interactions between them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. I would add a couple. They tend to work more in the beginning. I'm a big fan of music. Don't walk into a room with this quiet. Because I think when people walk in with just the jazz or whatever you choose, they just feel like, oh, okay, we're in a different setting. And that they are like, okay, I'm going to do something different. And then that key to make contact with every single person before the meeting starts so that they feel special.
Yeah, I like that, and especially you know that you're playing the right songs when people come to you and like, oh, what's that song and what's that? And they're like, yeah, this is the
Right.
now we're getting it. Now we're finding your
Shazam
tune.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I know that at the end of a facilitation, I'm like, I am so exhausted, and I'm like plastered on the wall, and the group is like, we have done such a great job, and I'm like, yeah, it was all you folks. My facilitation skills had nothing to do with it. So my question to you is, what's going to be important for facilitators to remember when they're focused on helping a team interact better?
I would say, and this is what actually, I don't remember who told me this, but this was in my early days as starter facilitator, was like, that's a good facilitator, or make sure that you, if you would like to be a good facilitator, get over yourself. Don't just looking into yourself, what you're thinking, what you're doing, you're driving, then the timings, next exercise, next workshop, not but get over yourself and see the group. You are there to help the group with the outcome, and make it easy for them to get that outcome. But it's so easy to get lost in what's next, what's happening, or asking a question, the timings, the rooms, what music to play, and everything like that, and then you're suddenly focus too much on the playlist that you want to play and miss actually what's happened in the interaction between the people.
Right.
So I would say, like, get over yourself and actually have that see the group. And it's constantly like plan, review, do, plan, review, do. You have this, but I plan for that. I see what's happening, and I did it, but now I need to replan again and again and again on it. So I have different scenarios, different parts that you can play and do. It depends on what's happening. It's helpful, but you will never know what you need to do actually. So, but that is the number one actually, to what is important, like to remember to help the team or the group actually to be able to focus and interact better. It's to see them like that.
Yeah, I love it. Fredrik, you and I have co-facilitated before, and I will tell folks who are watching this podcast, Fredrik is great at getting a group to interact and get to that outcome. So, Fredrik, to share your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience today, I really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure to be here. So thank you for having me, Heidi.